Welcome to the Artwork of You, the podcast where your life is the canvas and you are the masterpiece. I'm your host, Lori Guin, and together we'll explore creativity, self-awareness, mindset, goal strategy, and the importance of accountability so that you can paint your life's portrait with confidence and ease. Remember, in the gallery of life, you're not just a spectator, you are the art. So let's grab our brushes and start creating the masterpiece that is you. Hello, my friends. I am so glad that you are here with me today because today I want to talk about your ability to create change in your life. And I want to assure you that you are both the creator and the created, and that everything you experience is a reflection of the level of consciousness that you've achieved. So, in other words, what you are deeply aware of, what you embody, and what you imagine, that's the foundation of everything in your life. And it all starts with awareness. The moment that you recognize that your imagination and beliefs are shaping your reality, you're able to step into a new level of personal power. And it will no longer be about reacting to life, but about creating it. And I want to discuss what it means to consciously create. And I want to share how the beliefs that you hold form the structure of your life, why your imagination is your most powerful tool, and how to elevate your consciousness to align with what you truly desire. So let's take a moment to consider this idea that you are both the creator of your reality and the creation itself. And I know it might sound a little paradoxical at first, but it is incredibly empowering when you understand it. So think about the world around you, the people, the situations, even the seemingly random events. They're not separate from you. They are reflections of your internal state. What you hold in your consciousness, what you believe to be true about yourself and the world, is mirrored back to you through your experiences. And this is not about blame or guilt. It's about understanding really the profound influence that you have over your life. And this is so important because many of us move through the world as if we're at the mercy of external forces and we react to circumstances as though they're fixed and unchangeable. But what if those circumstances are actually a projection of your inner reality? Think of it like a movie projector. The real inside represents your consciousness, your beliefs, feelings, and assumptions, and the screen is your life. Now, if you don't like what's playing on the screen, you don't go and try to change the screen, right? You go back to try and change the reel. You change the film. And this is how consciousness works. Your thoughts and beliefs are the film reel, and your life is the projection. And when you understand this, you realize that every external change begins within. And also keep in mind that the relationship between the creator, which is you, and the created, which is your reality, it's dynamic. It's like a feedback loop. What you experience in the outer world reinforces your inner beliefs, which then shapes your outer experiences. So, for example, if you've been carrying around the belief that opportunities are scarce, you'll subconsciously act in ways that will confirm that belief. Maybe you'll overlook possibilities or you will assume that things won't work out. And when you see evidence of those missed opportunities, it will strengthen that belief even more. However, if you consciously shift your beliefs, the loop begins to work in your favor. By choosing to believe that opportunities are abundant, you start noticing them everywhere. You take actions that are aligned with that belief, and then the outer world begins to reflect that back to you. And I have seen this play out so many times in my own life. For example, my journey as an artist, when I first started creating, I assumed I was not a real artist because I hadn't followed the traditional path. No formal training, no art world connections, nothing. And that belief made me hesitant to share my work. And as a result, opportunities felt very scarce. But when I decided to shift my consciousness and to embrace the idea that I was already an artist just because I created, I began to show up differently. And I shared my work more boldly. And I connected with other artists and I put myself out there. And then the result? Well, doors started opening and sales started happening, not because the world had changed, but because I had. And in coaching, I see clients who've been stuck in patterns of self doubt or fear for many, many years. And when they begin to shift their beliefs, when they see themselves as capable and deserving and resourceful, all the things, their actions begin to change. They take more risks, they make decisions, and they attract opportunities that really seemed out of reach. It's not magic, it's alignment. The creator and the created are in sync. And when you understand, again, that you're both the creator and the created, it is truly transformative, but it can definitely feel a little bit abstract at first. So, here are some ways that you can start embodying this principle in your daily life. First, you'll want to notice the mirror. Begin by observing how your external reality reflects your inner state. If you're experiencing struggle, ask yourself what belief or assumption might be creating this. And if you're experiencing ease and flow, acknowledge what beliefs are supporting that. Next, take responsibility without judgment. Because this isn't about blaming yourself for challenges. It's about taking responsibility for your role as the creator. Instead of thinking, why is this happening to me? Shift to, what is this reflecting about my beliefs or my focus? Next, you can experiment with new beliefs. Choose one area of your life where you would like to see a change. Identify the belief that you've been holding and consciously replace it with a new one. For example, if you've been thinking, I'm not good at networking, which is something I used to think, try adopting the belief, I'm great at forming meaningful connections. And that's the belief that I took on. And I started with one on one networking. And then act as if that's already true. And you will notice that things begin to shift. And finally, you can celebrate the evidence. Pay attention to the moments when your inner shifts are mirrored in your external world. Maybe you notice a new opportunity, or you feel more confident, or you have a positive interaction that aligns with your intentions. So acknowledge these moments because they will reinforce the feedback loop that you're looking for. And I assure you that when you fully embrace that you are both the creator and the created, you stop feeling like something is happening to you, that life is happening to you. You realize it's something you are actively shaping. In this awareness, I wouldn't say it's just empowering, but I feel it's liberating because it gives you the freedom to rewrite the story of your life and to paint a new picture, if you will, on that canvas of your consciousness. So the question to ask yourself is this: what am I creating right now? And does it reflect the life I truly want to live? If the answer is no, know that you do have the power to change it, not by forcing external circumstances, but by elevating your inner state. I believe that imagination really is your superpower. It's the bridge between what exists now and what could be. It's the space where your potential meets the possibility, if you will. And many people underestimate imagination and they see it like it's child's play or that they're detached from reality or something. But the truth is, imagination is the first step in bringing any desire, goal, or vision to life. Because when you imagine something vividly, your brain does not differentiate between the imagined experience and a real one. Neurologically, you're training yourself to believe in and move toward that reality. This is why athletes visualize winning races and why creatives imagine the end result of their work before they begin. Imagination will set the stage for your action by aligning your subconscious mind with your desired outcomes. But it's not just about visualizing outcomes, I will say. It's really about embodying them. So close your eyes for a moment and imagine the version of yourself who has already achieved your goal. How do they feel? How do they act? What do they believe about themselves? That feeling is the key. And I know I've said this so many times, probably almost every episode, but do it, try it, because it creates a state of alignment that influences your thoughts and your decisions and your actions in ways that will move you closer to your vision. So commit to setting, say, 5 minutes a day for imagination rehearsal. Pick a specific goal or a desire and visualize it in detail. Focus not just on the external circumstances, but on how you feel in that state. And let your imagination fill in those gaps. And then pair your visualization with a physical action. So, for example, if you imagine you're self confident in a presentation, practice speaking in front of a mirror or recording yourself, because that combination of inner rehearsal and outer action will reinforce your belief. And if your imagination is the creative tool, like I think it is, then consciousness is the environment in which that creativity takes root. And to elevate your consciousness, that means to expand your awareness, to see beyond the surface and recognize the deeper patterns, beliefs, and assumptions shaping your life. And unfortunately, one of the greatest barriers to elevating your consciousness is distraction. And we sure do live in a world that constantly pulls our attention outward. So, to elevate your consciousness, you must turn your attention inward and cultivate a presence, because this is where your transformation really does begin. So, here are some ways that you can do this. Number one, you can practice mindful observation. Spend time each day observing your thoughts without any judgment. What patterns do you notice? And where does your mind go when it's unoccupied? This practice creates awareness of your default state, and it will give you the power to shift it. Number two, I want you to challenge your filters, because we all see the world through filters. And what I mean by that is beliefs about what's possible, who we are, and how the world works. So ask yourself, is this belief true? Or is it a habit of thought that I've accepted without question? Releasing those outdated filters will allow you to see new possibilities. And number three, expand your input. Elevating your consciousness requires expanding what you expose yourself to. Read books, listen to ideas, and engage with people who challenge and inspire you. Growth comes, as you know, from stepping outside of your comfort zone, not just mentally, but also emotionally. The more that you elevate your consciousness, the more you expand your capacity to create. And in other words, you give yourself more space mentally to express your potential. And I know that some of you might have challenges with this, because these challenges come up often in my coaching practice. So let's talk about them so we can get them out of the way, because I know that addressing them will help you move forward with a lot more confidence and clarity. And so here are some of the most common ones, and they're in no particular order. But say challenge number one is, I can't visualize clearly. A lot of people worry that they're not good at visualization. And maybe you've tried imagining a goal or a dream, but it feels kind of fuzzy or unclear. Well, you'll be happy to know that visualization does not have to be perfect, because it's not about creating a high definition movie in your mind. It's really more about connecting to the feeling of your desire that you want fulfilled. So instead of focusing on seeing every single detail, ask yourself, how would I feel if this were already true? Start there, because the feeling is far more important than the visuals. Another challenge is, what if I struggle to identify my limiting beliefs? Sometimes our limiting beliefs are so ingrained that we don't even recognize them as beliefs. They feel more like truths about the world or about ourselves. So, a simple way to uncover them is to pay attention to the stories you tell yourself. For example, do you often say something like, oh, I'm not the kind of person who can, whatever, fill in the blank? Or do you find yourself thinking, well, that's just how things are? Again, fill in the blank. Because these statements can be clues to what's really holding you back. And journaling can definitely help here. So write down a challenge you're facing and ask, what would I have to believe for this to feel true? You'll often uncover beliefs that you didn't even realize you had. Another challenge I see is, what if I don't see results right away? And this is a big one, and it's a big misconception, because conscious creation is not instant. I hate to break it to you. I mean, definitely shifts can sometimes happen super quickly, and it's important to understand that transformation is a process, but really, you need to allow for some patience. And I'm sure you've heard this comparison before, something like, imagine planting a seed, right? You don't dig it up the next day to check to see if it's growing. Instead, you trust the process. You water it, you give it sunlight, and you allow it time. Well, the same is true for your intentions. Stay consistent with your focus and trust that the changes are happening, even if they're not immediately visible. Another challenge, people sometimes say, well, isn't this just positive thinking? And this process, it's not just positive thinking. It goes deeper than simply thinking positive thoughts. And while positivity can definitely be helpful, conscious creation involves embodying a state of being that aligns with your vision. It's really rewiring your beliefs and engaging your imagination and then taking intentional action. It might sound very abstract to you, but it's actually very practical. You don't wait for inspiration to strike. Instead, you take deliberate steps to align your actions with your vision. And I'll break this down into some actionable methods that might help you so that you can stay aligned and, again, intentional. Number one, create a daily practice, a daily intention practice. Begin each day by setting an intention that aligns with your vision. And this is not a to do list, that's something different. This is a way to anchor yourself in your desired state. So, for example, today I will act with confidence and openness, or I will approach challenges as opportunities. In my new 30 Days of Success journal, that has a place for you to write down your daily intentions. You can, and again, I've mentioned it before, but you can download it on my website. There's also a link in the show notes. It's completely free. I'm using it now for the month of January, and I will continue to use it. And it's really helpful if you do it every day. Don't just download it and look at it and then put it aside. You need to actually fill it out every day. Number two, design a creative space. And whether that's physical or mental, it doesn't matter. But having a space dedicated to your creativity and growth will help you to stay focused. So this could be a corner of your home where you do the journaling, or it simply can be a mental ritual where you prepare yourself for the intentional action. Number three, experiment with small shifts. So instead of overwhelming yourself with massive changes, focus on the small things. For example, if you want to feel more abundant, start by giving something away, whether it's your time, your attention, or your resources. And if you want to feel more confident, make one bold decision today because those small actions, they really do compound into big results. Number four, revisit your vision weekly because your vision isn't static. And that can be your vision, your goals, your desires, your targets, but it's not static because as you grow, you need to refine it. So spend time each week reviewing your goals and adjusting them when necessary. And of course, celebrate the wins along the way. We always say that because this will keep you engaged and motivated. And finally, number five, you need to release your limiting patterns because limiting patterns are like weights. They keep you anchored to the past. And to consciously create, you must release these patterns. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is trying to fix themselves. But you're not broken. Newsflash, no, you are not. Limiting patterns are simply habits of thought and behavior that no longer serve you. So the goal isn't to eliminate them overnight, it's to replace them with patterns that align with who you want to become. And so here are some ways to help you do that. Number one, identify the pattern. Start by noticing the beliefs or habits that are holding you back. Maybe it's procrastination, maybe it's self doubt or a fear of failure. Just write it down to make it tangible. Number two, trace the source. And what I mean by that is ask yourself, where did this pattern come from? Is this something that you've experienced or something you've been told or you just assumed? Because understanding its origin will help you see it more objectively. Number three, just create a new narrative. Rewrite the story you've been telling yourself. For example, instead of, I am not good at this, try, I'm learning and improving every day. This shift rewires your inner dialogue. And number four, anchor the change. Use rituals to symbolize the release of your old patterns. And this could be something like writing the belief on a piece of paper and tearing it up, or creating a physical reminder of your new narrative, like an affirmation card. But remember, you're not erasing parts of yourself, you're evolving them to match your higher consciousness. Conscious creation is an ongoing process. It is not a one time event, and that's a beautiful thing, in my opinion. And because of that, it requires both consistency and the willingness to adapt. And so, to wrap it up, and in the spirit of the artwork of you, I want you to always remember that you are the artist, the canvas, and the masterpiece all at once. Every thought, belief, and action is just like a brushstroke shaping your life. The question is, what are you creating? Take a moment today to reflect on the awareness and imagination you're bringing into your life. Choose one practice to focus on this week, whether it's visualizing your goals, questioning a limiting belief, or taking a small action aligned with your vision. Transformation does not happen by chance. It happens by design. You have the power to elevate your consciousness, tap into your imagination, and create a reality that reflects your highest self. And each morning, remember to ask yourself, what's one action I can take today that aligns with who I desire to be? That's a wrap for today, my friends. Thank you for sharing your time with me. And remember to show up in your life like the masterpiece you are, because you are the artwork. Please subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Have a fabulous day.